Guys, welcome back to Man Cave Media. My name is William. It has been a week since we spoke. I have been super busy at my job and haven't been able to film anything, but I did buy some movies in April. So let's see what I got. Alright guys, so as usual, we're going to go through the Blu-rays first, then we'll go through the DVDs. Still working in the man cave. Once we get everything finished, we're trying to start transitioning into getting some 4Ks. But with that said, we're going to get into the Blu-rays. So I went to a couple of thrift stores this month. I visited Goodwill a couple of times. We visited a mom and pop place at like a little mom and pop thrift store, and I found some stuff there. And I did get one brand new item at Walmart this month. So, but what did I get? So let's start out by, I got Deadpool 1 and 2. I'm trying to collect all of the Marvel movies. And I didn't have any of the Deadpools yet. I thought about getting the triple pack, with all three. I've been eyeing it at Walmart. It's like 40 bucks, I believe, and just wasn't ready to do that. But I got these for $2 a piece at Goodwill, so definitely happy to get these. Just need to get the third one now. So, I mean, you've already seen Deadpool. You know what it's about, Definitely like the first one better than the second one. The second one definitely has its charms to it. But definitely enjoyed the first one better. But very happy to add these finally to the collection. Been needing to do that for a while. I did see a Deadpool 1 steelbook at Goodwill a while back. I think it was in March. And it was, I think, $3. But I didn't pull the trigger on that one because, I mean, there's just one thing that is really, really weird about that steelbook that, I mean, I'm not really a steelbook guy. I have one steelbook, but I'm okay with not having any steelbooks. But there's one thing that really irked me about that steelbook is that, usually you have, the title on the spine in this direction. So you put it on the shelf like that. This one, so you put it on the shelf like that and you have the title, positioned like this. Well, that steelbook was very different from anything else because if you want the artwork to be up like that, the spine font was flipped over. So it would be like this, If you would have the spine lettering along with everything else in your bookcase or whatever you keep them, but if you pull it out, the artwork would be upside down. So I did not pull the trigger on that steelbook for that reason. It was a Blu-ray steelbook. Like I said, for like $3. It was a really nice find for Goodwill, but I left it for someone else just for that reason alone. And because, like I said, not that big in the steelbook. So there was no damage to it, no like dents or scratches per se, but that was enough for me to pass on it. So next one, these next ones I got off of Whatnot actually. I made one purchase off of Whatnot this month. I do really enjoy Whatnot, but I try to stay off it as much as I can because you get really good deals on movies. Like you get like a Blu-ray for $1 or a Blu-ray for $2. You get some DVDs for 50 cents, whatever. Really great deals on Whatnot. But if you're not careful, the shipping costs will add up very fast. So try to minimize my purchasing on Whatnot for that reason alone. If you do go Whatnot, I do have a trick for you. If you do go Whatnot, some sellers will do stacking, which like you tell them which movies you want, and then you're like, oh, I'll put it to the side for you, and then you can check out when you're ready, and then they just do the shipping all together from whatever you have collected out of that stack of things that you want. Excuse me. Other sellers will do, oh, you want that movie? Okay, buy it now, and we'll pay for the shipping now. And then you're like, oh, well, I want to do another one. It's like, okay, we'll buy that one, and then we do shipping on that one. So it's like, okay, I want to buy this movie. Okay, well, it's $2. All right, $2, and it's like $5 for shipping, right? So, oh, okay, I want to buy this movie too. So, okay, well, that's $2. Well, now you added another 50 cents to your shipping, you know. And as you buy, they kind of like adds on to your shipping costs, and eventually, I don't know exactly how it works, but if you get to a certain amount, you have to pay like another $5 or another $4, and eventually, when you will get to the point to where the shipping is free after that. So you're just paying the $2 for the movies. But if you're going in and you buy like 2 or 3 movies, it's really not that worth it. And it's kind of hard to do when you go into someone's shop and it's like an auction, and you're like, oh, I have these, but then you don't know what else they have, or you don't know if there's anything else that you might want to buy. And so when you're not stacking, it's like you bought $4 in movies and $5 to $6 in shipping, and then you find out there's nothing else that you want. So is the shipping cost really that worth it? So you have to be very careful on whatnot. All right, so got these up. Sorry, I got distracted. Anyways, got these others on whatnot. 2 of them were $2 and the other one was $4. But these have been on my list for a while, so I've definitely thought it was worth it. But the first one is Source Code with Jake Gyllenhaal. I was confused by this one in the past because I kind of got confused with Total Recall, which is another Jake Gyllenhaal movie that I wanted. I actually forgot about this movie. And just recently did I forget, like, no, you're not thinking about, Total Recall, you're thinking about Source Code. And I really enjoyed this movie. It is the way I want to revisit it, so that's why I got it. But the one thing that I remember about this movie is that it's kind of like Groundhog Day, but not really. Like, he's on this train and with this woman, and I think there's like some sort of terrorist attack. I'm reading the back of it. There's some sort of terrorist attack, and he's trying to solve the attack because, like, if I remember correctly, I don't want to spoil it for you, but something keeps happening over and over again, so it's kind of like Groundhog Day. But the ending was actually really, really cool. Really, really cool. Really, really unique. So definitely I'm really excited to revisit again. So that is Source Code. That's one of the ones I got for $2 off of Whatnot. The other one I got for $2 was Focus with Will Smith and Margot Robbie. So this one went under the radar for me for a while. I mean, I never really looked at what it was about. But again, this kind of like confused me because it's Will Smith, and it kind of reminded me of some of the other ones that he did. I think it was like Pursuit of Happiness, and that one I think it was like, what was it called? It's like 7 Pounds or something like that. I think all these came out around the same time. This one came out in 2014. So I kind of like, this one flew under the radar for me. I didn't really give it time of day. But I was flipping through Facebook one day, in the shorts or the videos and stuff, and they had a clip from this movie where, Will Smith and Margot Robbie are at like, I think it was a football game or something like that. And they were gambling on all kinds of different things with this guy who had a lot of money. And the things that they were betting on was like not football related, and I thought it was really interesting. And I decided, all right, I'll give it a try. And I streamed it, and I really, really enjoyed it. They pretty much like, Will Smith plays a mastermind when it comes to extorting people and, gambling in a way that he knows he's going to win. And Margot Robbie is kind of like starting out in the business, and he kind of like takes her under his wing. They kind of start a relationship and stuff like that. But how they manipulate some of the people in this movie was really, really cool. Really, really cool. So very happy to have this in the collection, so I can revisit it again, because I actually really much enjoyed that, and I was actually very surprised how much I enjoyed it. But again, that one was off of Whatnot. That was $2. The last one I got off Whatnot, this one was $4, and it is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo with Daniel Craig. Now, I just recently revisited this because it's been on my list, and it's been a long time since I've seen this. So I was like, do I really want that one? And I revisited it, and yes, I very much enjoyed this. I found, it's been on my list, and I found a copy at Half Price Books, and the packaging was awful. Like, it was like a really thin, not DVD case, but almost like a paper case. And it was like a really thin, almost like envelope, but it's kind of like the DVD, or it was a Blu-ray that kind of like slid in a little slit. But it was just awful packaging. I was like, no, this gotta be something better. And I actually found this on their shop on Whatnot, and it's actually a box set. Well, again, I only got this for $4. This is a Blu-ray. But this is a really cool box set. Really, really nice. Kind of stuck in there. So you got, kind of opens up. You know, you got your bunch of special features in here. The other one I was looking at actually had, you know, this little disc right here, which is actually what it's supposed to look like. You know, especially it's supposed to look like, you know, a burn disc or whatever. It's got like a little razor blade on there. It's part of the movie. But I thought it was really cool. Really cool box set. Again, only $4. You know, open it up. It looks like that. Daniel Craig's character in here is really fascinating. The whole story is pretty fascinating. He plays a detective hired by a wealthy family. The grandfather, I believe, is trying to find his long lost daughter. And the whole family is very strange into themselves. Like, they live in separate houses on this huge estate. They barely have talked to each other. And he is trying to solve like a mystery of the disappearance of this daughter many, many, many years later. I think the grandfather's like dying, and that's the one thing that he wanted. So he hired Daniel Craig as a private investigator to figure out what happened to her. And just the stuff that he finds is so dark, and then it's really, really good. Rooney Mara, I'm not really sure who the actress other than this movie. She also plays like a private detective that he kind of brings on for help, and she's like very much an introvert, very different, and she kind of helps him with the case. But very, very much enjoyed that. Glad I revisited it because I definitely want to add the collection. I know that overseas they did a couple more of these movies, and I tried to give them a chance. I think it was the one that the girl kicks the hornet's nest. I think it was the one it was called. I streamed it on Netflix a while back and just didn't like it. You know, it didn't have the same feel. I know that has a couple of different movies of the girl saga, and it seems like there's always like a different actress, always a different actor, same characters but different actresses and different actors. And usually, like, you know, when you do that, you kind of lose focus. You can't really like hold on to an actor or an actress in that role when they keep switching it up. But I know that it's like a really successful book series. I've never really tried it, but yeah, really glad to add that to the collection for a really good price. So last Blu-ray on the list. This one I got from Walmart, brand new. Good boy. So this one, there's a couple of movies that I was looking for at Walmart. There's a couple of new releases I was interested in. And so I went to Walmart the other day, and I was like, oh, okay, you know, I feel like, you know, purchasing a new movie, because usually I like to thrift all my movies because I like a good deal. And so I was like, you know, I can, you know, get a new movie, whatever. And so I decided to look, And this one I had heard about, something I wanted to watch. It is about like a paranormal haunting, but through the eyes of the family dog, which I thought was a super awesome idea. And I definitely wanted to give it a try and see what that was about. So very happy to get this and give it a try. There's like I said, there's a couple other ones I was looking at, but this one really caught my eye because, just look at that case. Look at that slipcover. They got the holographic right there. You got the little puppy dog eyes. You look at the back right here too. And usually, like, the new releases, if you let them go for too long, you're going to miss out on the slipcase. And the slipcase, this doesn't have any of the holographicness. So if you wait too long, you will miss out on the slipcase. So that's why I decided to grab it then and there. We are going to do a review about this very, very soon. Probably right after this, I'm going to film this one. And we're going to do a review. So look forward to that, because that's going to be a good one. All right, now moving on to the DVDs. The rest of these I got from Goodwill and that mom and pop thrift store I was telling you about. So first one up, this is a guilty pleasure. It just recently got on my list because I just remembered it. And it came out in 2004. So this is Catwoman, Halle Berry's Catwoman. This is notorious for being not a good movie. Not a good movie at all. But there's good parts about it. I remember really liking this in my teenage years. And so I definitely wanted to revisit it because I haven't seen this in a long, long, long time. And, I got this for like, I think $1.50 at Goodwill, $2. I can't remember what it was. But, it's got this really nice slipcover. And it's got like an alternate artwork inside. So really, really cool. Really glad to revisit this. One thing I do remember that I really liked about this movie was the villain. It's this blonde lady right here. She runs like a like makeup company, and I think the makeup that they make is like really, really bad. And Halle Berry is like worked there or was investigating it. I can't remember. And she's trying to bring down the whole organization. And, it's got her version of the origin of Catwoman. Like I said, it's not the best at all. She is definitely not the best Catwoman. But it has a nice charm. I would say it's definitely like one of those, popcorn movies. It's going to be bad, but it's got a little bit fun things to it. So real excited to give that one another try. All right, next one. This has been on my list also for a while. I have a really long list of things I've been adding to my notes I'm looking for. This one came out in 1999. I did not watch it in 1999. I would say that I watched it in like 2002, 2003. I would say that. But this is Wild Wild West with a little snapper case. So really cool. Got this at Goodwill. Super clean snap case. I have not seen this in a long time, but I really enjoyed this movie growing up. It is Will Smith as a cowboy in the West. You have this actor, and he plays like a doctor, and there's like an evil general who like is in like a wheelchair, and he drives like this little mechanical spider. I'm just butchering what the movie's about. I mean, it came out in 1999. You definitely should have seen this already, but it's got Salma Hayek in it too. But one thing, so story time. We're all friends here. I'll tell you embarrassing stories and stuff like that. But if I have a fun story about this movie, there is a scene. So this actor, he is the best way I describe it is playing a drag queen almost. And, you know, Will Smith is like a womanizer. You know, he gets around and he teaches this actor what a breast's supposed to feel like because he had no idea. And he had like this bottle or these like, you know, bags in his like, you know, his costume that had like rocks in it or something like that. And he like dumped all the rocks into a sink and and Will Smith fills it with water. And it's a really funny scene, but little Man Cave Media Will thought that that was super, super interesting, and it stuck with me for a while until I got older. And I'm going to leave it at that. All right, moving on. So this next one, these were all, I have two more, technically one more from Goodwill. I got a bulletproof Blockbuster case for like $1.50. I can't remember what movie was supposed to be in here, but the movie was missing, and I just took out the artwork because I would definitely pay like $1.50, $2 for a bulletproof Blockbuster case that I can use for something else. So got that, no biggie, not exciting. Another one, this one was also another bulletproof Blockbuster case that was missing a movie. And while I was at the store, I picked up Draft Day. And the case that this was in was rough. Nothing wrong with the artwork, but the case was very rough. And so while I was at the store, I just swapped out the cases into this Blockbuster case. This movie came out in 2014. So I think that was after Blockbuster's demise. So, but it's just in a Blockbuster case now. And again, like I said, the Blockbuster cases are bulletproof. But anyways, Draft Day. This one also flew under my radar for a while. And a couple of years ago, before the NFL draft, my buddy said, dude, you gotta watch it. Like, NFL draft's about to happen. You gotta watch this movie. And so Kevin Costner plays the manager of the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns suck. Go Steelers. So in this movie, Draft Day, Kevin Costner plays the manager of the Cleveland Browns. He's trying to turn the season around, trying to, you know, have a really successful draft. You know, he's calling other teams to make deals. He's like doing, you know, he's looking at prospects. And just the whole way, just how this whole movie breaks down, especially at the end, was really, really fun. And more of the story is he did a really bad job because the Browns still suck. So we hate the Browns in this household. We are Steeler fans. So, yay. Of all teams, they decided that the Browns should be part of that movie. I don't know. Anyways, moving on. So these last three, I got three more. These last three I got from a mom and pop thrift store. I think these were only $1. And so the first one is Buying the Cow. So this one was recommended by another YouTuber that I really like, that I watched, Brian with Last Movie Standing. He mentioned this movie as a recommendation, and it plays Jerry O'Connell as a womanizer, and him and his buddies make like a jackpot pact that whoever gets married last, or I guess refuses to get married, get like this big pot of money. And so it's like, I think it's like 4 guys and they all get married, and there's like this one dude and he's about to get married, and he is like falling for one of these actresses in the bridal party. And he's like trying to fight his feelings, trying to not fall in love because he wants to win the pot. He wants to win the bet. But also stars Ryan Reynolds. And he is so funny in this movie. So funny. There's some really, really funny scenes with him. But definitely give it a try. I can't remember. I think this movie... I think I was told that this movie was kind of hard to find. I think it might have been just the Blu-rays hard to find. But definitely was excited to pick that up. I streamed it on Tubi and had a really fun time with it. So definitely a good recommendation. And really fun to find it out in the wild for $1. So next one up is one that you've heard of. It is From Dusk to Dawn, where George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino and Salma Hayek was just first starting out. And you know what this movie's about. Dusk to Dawn, it's early Quentin Tarantino. These brothers, George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino, are brothers trying to skip the law. They stop at a roadside bar that is like run by vampires, and they're just trying to get out and survive with like a family. But I picked this up because it's a classic. It's a classic. I didn't have it, and I've never seen this artwork for this movie before. Never seen that artwork before. So really, really cool to find that. Again, for only $1. Seems like there's a bunch of extra special features in this one as well. Yeah, there's a lot of extra special features in here. You got the making of, you got an alternative ending, some deleted scenes. So I thought that was pretty cool for only $1 to get that. Again, it's like a really, really cool cover or artwork that I've never seen before for that movie. So thought it was really cool to get. All right, last one. This one also I got from the mom and pop shop. It is a movie that I've never seen before. And again, I believe this movie is recommended from Brian in Last Movie Standing. I might be wrong. But to be honest, I don't know what this movie is about. Again, it was only $1 and it was brand new. It is Rose Red. It's a Stephen King movie. Again, brand new. It's a Stephen King movie. I don't know what it's about. It says the chilling tale of Dr. Joyce Reardon, an obsessed psychology professor who commissions a team of psychics and a gifted 15-year-old autistic girl, Anna Wheaton, to literally wake up a supposedly dormant haunted mansion called Rose Red. The efforts unleash a myriad spirit and uncover horrifying secrets of the generations who have lived and died there. Every house has a story to tell. This one will kill you. So, seems like it's about a haunted house. That's exciting. That's Stephen King. So, definitely have to give that one a try. Very excited. I mean, I like horror movies. I like haunted mansions, everything like that. So, that'd be really cool to get. That was really cool for $1. But guys, that is everything that I got in the month of April. I made some other purchases online that has not gotten here, so that will show up in our May haul. But guys, thanks for clicking my video. That's everything. Let me know, did you get any good recommendations? Did you hear about some things that you never heard of? And what did you buy in April? I want to know about it. Put it down in the comments and let's talk about it.